Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Meyer, and in this video what we're going to be doing is continuing our Vital sound design series. In this video we're going to be making a pluck sound. This is what it sounds like. And with the lead, you can hear it layered on top of the lead. Without it. All right, let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and move this up here, and I'm going to call this Pluck. And I don't know, maybe give this a more kind of a pinkish color. Now, I have a MIDI that I'd like to use for this that rather than me spend the time actually doing this, I'm just going to grab this MIDI and put it on top. And the way this lines up is like this. So to hear this on top of the lead, this is what this sounds like. This is an init patch, so let's hear what it sounds like. So I basically tried to follow what the lead is doing, but rather than arpeggiating these bottom notes, I'm actually playing them together in unison. If I fold it, you can see they're kind of playing together. So that's one of the ways you can do this pluck pattern. I may do a separate video on melody writing for all these different parts, but once again, this is mostly sound design, so I don't want to get too far in the weeds on that. And the thing we're going to do, we're going to take Vital. This is an initialized preset, and the plucks are very, very simple to make. We simply have a sawtooth oscillator. I'm going to turn the phase randomization completely off and just going through a filter. Now for this one, I'm going to pick the dirty 24 dB per octave filter and maybe bring this down to, I don't know, maybe around 100 hertz. And what I want to do is add a filter. I'm actually going to use two filters to do this. So the first one is going to be the main body of the pluck. So we're going to do this. Turn the sustain all the way down, turn the attack all the way down, turn, the release is fine, and we're going to just move the decay down a hair. Sounding pretty good. I'm going to use envelope 3 to also modulate the filter cutoff, but what I want this to do is very, very, very quick. And that's going to add this really tight, punchy, it's like this punch of the sound. If you've seen the Axis Virus, which I have one behind me, there's like a punch knob. And what I'm trying to do is emulate that initial click that cuts through by using a really short filter. So let's see what this sounds like. So you can kind of hear it. It's very, very subtle, but it is coming through, and that's helping. It's going to help the attack of the sound really push through. I'm going to add in Oscillator 2, and with this one, what I'm going to do is add two voices with just a hair of detune. So maybe, I don't know, 2%, 3% detune, and I'm going to just bring this in a little bit. What this is doing is adding a little bit of stereo field to the sound. So this one's mono, it's one voice right down the middle. This one has a little bit of detune and phase randomization. So what it's doing is it's adding a little bit of width. It's very subtle, but it's there, and it helps the sound really just, I guess, spread out in the mix. So now what we're going to do is move over to our effects, and this is where the main the sound's going to come to life, because it's a very simple sound. It's actually very similar to the bass that we made, even more simple, I would say. But these plucks really come to life when you add delay and reverb to them. So first thing we're going to do, though, is add a multi-band compressor, and I don't want much release on this. So let's hear what this sounds like. Sounding pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and add the delay. Now, because we're doing a dotted eighth note rhythm, da, 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 it makes the most sense to have this ping pong delay be doing just standard eighth notes. So I usually select eighth notes or dotted eighth notes, but since the rhythm is doing dotted eighth notes, it's going to fill in the gaps a little bit better. So let's hear what this sounds like. This is a lot of delay, so we're going to slowly bring it in. Sounding pretty good. Next up, I'm going to add an equalizer, the EQ, and what I want to do is shelf the lows down a little bit and accentuate the highs a little bit. Now, the reason I want to do this is most sawtooths have a frequency roll-off of about -6 dB, and most modern music is sort of mastered to have a slope or a down tilt of -4.5 dB. So this is sort of emulating that slope by making it a little bit brighter. You, of course, could choose a different waveform as well. Sounding good, and lastly, what I'm going to do is add some reverb. So what I'm going to do is add some of the low cut here. We don't want a lot of the low end. And what I'm going to do is just increase the time to maybe about 3 seconds and bring the mix down. It's subtle, but it's there, and that's helping this sound cut through the mix. That's pretty much all I want to do for this sound right now. One thing I could do is bring the sustain down a little bit, but I don't think this is needed. Let me just hear what this sounds like, though. Sounds okay. I'll keep it like that. Now the trick here is going to be mixing this in with the lead and making sure they both sound cohesive together, because they are playing on top of each other. So I'm going to just bring it all the way down and mix it in slowly. So we can kind of hear what's going on. One thing I think I'm going to do is make this decay curve a little bit sharper. Sounding good. In the next video, what we'll do is make a pad sound. See that?